The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good morning, everyone. We are going to get started here in just about 1 minute. We have a lot of people still joining and want to give them about 1 more minute to join. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. This is Lisa Collins from PrimePay. I am the Director of Broker Concierge Partnerships, and I'm going to be monitoring this CE presentation. We really appreciate you joining our presentation today. We still have a lot of people joining, so we're going to give it a couple more minutes before we launch into the CE, but wanted to cover some housekeeping items before we begin. Okay, so today the CE course has been approved for 1 continuing education credit for life and health in the following states: Arizona, California, Colorado, Connecticut, Georgia, Idaho, Indiana, Maryland, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, Utah, Virginia, West Virginia, Alabama, Arkansas, Delaware, Illinois, Oregon, Ohio, New York, Tennessee, Florida, and Michigan. If you have joined in any of those other states, please feel free to continue to listen to this presentation. I think you'll garner a lot of good information, but you will not be receiving the CE. During this instructional period, you may not conduct any other business. You can't read any material. You can't use electronic devices, look at your cell phone. Each state requires attendance 100% to get approved for this 1 hour CE. If you arrive after the webinar has begun, or if you do not answer any of the poll questions, we have 3 poll questions throughout the CE, and those questions must be answered. You don't have to answer them right, you just need to answer the poll questions to get credit. You should have received a sign-in and a sign-out sheet. Please complete this, signing both in at 9 a.m. Eastern, signing out at 10 a.m. Eastern, and send that over to concierge@primepay.com. We'll announce that again at the end, and please send that quickly. We hope that you send it to us tomorrow. We have a lot of people attending and want to get these certificates back to you timely. Upon successful completion of the course, you'll be issued a course completion document. It's a certificate showing the course approval number, the eligible license class, and the number of credits, the 1 credit you've received for completing this class. So with that, that's the housekeeping items. The one thing I want to mention, if you have not received that sign-in, sign-out sheet, please in the question box, let us know that and with your email address, and we will get that to you. So I'm pleased to introduce 2 industry veterans, thought leaders in the employee benefit area that will be presenting today. We'll begin with the 1 hour CE presented by Jim Engel. Jim is currently the Regional Director of Benefit and Compliance Services with PrimePay. PrimePay is a payroll and business services company. He assists brokers, CPAs, clients on education, implementation, and consultation on COBRA, Flex Services, HRA, ERISA, and Ben Admin systems. Jim has over 20 years of experience in CDHC plans, healthcare delivery, and ASO products. With over 20 years of experience in the CDH plans, Jim's given hundreds of seminars and CE credits on these topics. He's a graduate of Ohio University. He also holds RHU, REBC, ECFC, and CBC designations. So we're also pleased to have Elsie Fairchild join us with BEST. And after our webinar, our CE webinar, Elsie is going to present on discussing really practical ways to use their resources and knowledge to offer a tech solution to your clients. Elsie's career began over 30 years ago, and it's encompassed a multitude of employee benefit venues, from actuarial firms to voluntary benefits to technology. She's an active member of multiple human resource organizations as well as many industry focus groups. She is certified continuing education instructor and enjoys instructing CE events with her peers regarding current events within the industry. So with those housekeeping items out of the way and the introductions, I'm going to turn it over to Jim Engel right now to begin the CE presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Lisa. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for attending this discussion on technology. The first part of this presentation, as Lisa was saying, will be the 1 hour covering conversations on how to utilize technology, solutions by using an outsourced solution with technology. So, today we're going to be talking a little bit about the overview, what's driving the change, technology and HR trends, the competitive landscape, transforming your agency, and practical technology discussion. So the benefit of technology overview. Back in 1990, when I first started working with agents and brokers, really the only thing you had to worry about was, is the person in the network, the doctor in the network, the hospital maybe working on copays. HMOs were just coming into play. So it's really benefit laden, right? Not to say that your job isn't revolving around benefit, but there's so much more now than there ever was. There was a recent book came out called Breaking Through the Status Quo. I suggest everyone take a look at it. And one of the brokers that wrote a piece in it, Scott Cantrell, said, never work with a benefit broker ever again. So some of us think, well, that's kind of harsh. But what he was trying to get at was there is so much more to your job today than ever was. HMOs came into play, like I said, in the 90s with different networks that you had to evaluate. Then came along consumer-driven healthcare, HSA-compatible plans, high deductibles, HRAs, that's been around for a while, but more fashionable now than ever. COBRA was heavily in play. Then ACA, which changed everyone's world. Now you're involved more in payroll. And now technology is coming into play. So you're dealing not just with the HR person, but the C-suite of individuals, because you're dealing with everything business related. And benefit technology is a huge part, becoming larger in the worlds of offering benefit and managing HR capital needs. So kind of an overview. Benefit technology has been around for many years. Past 5 years, we've seen some amazing changes. So back in the day, you were provided software, which you loaded on your computer, right? Any changes to technology infrastructure was really a major overhaul. It was called a waterfall system. So you need to make change to one thing. You had to go back through all the other codings and make the changes everywhere. So the end user was just to run a report, had to import some coding to produce the reports. Only large companies really could afford these systems. And they had to have the technical personnel brought in by HR and benefit technology. But today, a lot different, right? Things are, SaaS, software as service, is now the end game. No longer is the software really installed in your computer, but it's accessible through the web, cloud-based. So no need for IT expertise. Revisions or changes to technology can be made easily and affordable, right? So these technology platforms are all in one, including payroll, HR, and ben admin. One database, but with the use of APIs and file feeds, these platforms start to work together, sharing data, which, in today's world is very important. The future, what's it going to look like? So we envision more API sharing data amongst all business systems, more customizable, recommendations, decision support, personalization, kind of like Amazon experience for HR and benefits. knowing demographics, understanding what I have to enroll in as an employee, knowing salaries and ages, etc. Can drive recommendations through a decision support tool. So data is available, consolidated among all these systems to allow small companies to use big data for analysis. And we'll talk a little bit more about that later. So definitely the trends are exciting, but it's fast. Definitely looking for partners to help out. So what's driving change? So it's definitely here. What is it? Why are we going along this road? I mean, I think it's really just mankind's insatiable quest for efficiency and knowledge is what's driving change. We see all these different rules and regulations and such, and we want to make it easier, more accessible, more efficient. And so some of the things that are really driving change, we'll be looking at various areas, workforce, compliance is definitely one of them, complexities, employer demand, competition, right, is always driving things. Bottom line, as a broker, you must be engaged with technology, understand what's being offered, trends that your clients are asking for, and looking for advice from you. I was talking to a broker a little while ago, and he said he was, going over all these different things, be it ACA or COBRA or ERISA or technology. And, the president looked at him and said, if I wasn't, talking with you, if you weren't giving me this information, who would? And that's a key question. You got to ask yourselves, who does a client go to get this information? Along the lines of ACA, I mean, that's a CPA question, right? It's a filing. Or ERISA, should be talking to an ERISA attorney. But the CPA probably doesn't know as much about ACA as you do. The ERISA attorney is too expensive. Technology, who do you go to on that front, right? So be it good or bad, you're involved in everything related to benefits, to ERISA, to technology. So that's just the place that you're at right now. So driving the change. So you have 3 generations of employees. Very different benefit packages are required. So you have the millennials. And by 2020, they're going to surpass 50% of the workforce. Each have different needs, right, for benefits, different ways to communicate, obviously, or to acquire information, or to learn. The younger generation, they want immediate, accessibility, except everything on the mobile phone, or to access information and roll through a mobile app. They're really the first generation to really, well, maybe not the first, but ergonomics is big for the millennials because they're being called the hunchback generation because they're hunched over their cell phones all the time. So we're getting used to personalization through Google, searches of ads and posts, shopping, things of that nature. So this generation, future generations are all going to have different ways that they're going to choose things. Choice is a must to provide a robust benefit package to attract and retain all these generations of employees. What I need for benefits when I get closer to retirement, definitely much different than someone just graduating from college. Just offering a standard package won't do. One way to communicate won't work. In the past, administrators, they'd be challenging with communication, enrollment, payroll deductions, but no more. So what's driving the change? What about HR and employers? So waste is in our system due to redundant and duplicate manual processes. One HR executive declared themselves a department of one. As you look at really the marketplace that most people are in, that 25 to 200, 250 employees, HR staff, they're not increasing, they're decreasing. So HR technology is going to help them be more efficient. Clients are demanding the change. According to MetLife, a benefit trend surveying more than 60% of employers want better admin solutions, compliance solution, and cost containment. Cost containment, that can be achieved by saving times with sharing data among systems, reducing redundant data entry and errors. Just think of how many systems you need to go into now for a simple address change without integration, right? You need to go in the payroll side. You need to send information to your COBRA or maybe your Flex, FSAs and HRAs. List goes on and on and on. Some will be missed. There's still situations out there where you take somebody off a payroll, but you forget to tell your broker that this person no longer works with the company, and they stay on 4, 5, 6, 8 months, and you're paying out the employer extra premium for this individual that should not be on the plan anymore. So that's still something that pops up from time to time. So administrative efficiency is key to many HR professionals. A great many admin personnel state they're a department of one, like I said before. And the other thing is just the complexity that HR has to go with, which is compliance. So managing compliance as a business owner, even a small company, is much more challenging these days than it ever was. I mean, you got to think of, for those groups that have benefits, obviously ERISA is in play, or for groups over 20, COBRA's in play. So ACA was certainly a game changer, needing technology to have payroll talk to an ACA platform for tracking and reporting. But getting even knowing the correct employer count for ACA, COBRA, and FMLA, it's all a bit different. There was a recent survey from HR managers that said that only 44% of them felt comfortable in keeping track with enrollment law or employment law. And 40% said they had unintended expenses as a result to non-compliance. So compliance is definitely something that is moving the needle. And then you need to understand, who your highly comped are. Key employees for health and welfare discrimination testing. Definitions are definitely going to vary. The employee count for ACA, including part-time, is different than employee count for COBRA. So the most accurate data will come from payroll. And instead of manually manipulating, tying payroll into a Ben admin, streamline the process and reduce errors. Also, then there's certain benefit data that needs to be entered on W-2, HSA, DCA, just to name a few. So compliance definitely is, moving things around quite a bit in terms of compliance and keeping your client on the compliant path. What about competition? So some people see insurance as a commodity. Technology startups are acting as brokers. So more and more technology startups are taking on the broker role. Billions of dollars really have been spent in this area in the last 5 years. Think of Zenefits. Came into the marketplace as a main competitor today. And you have many, many more. Brokers are taking on more consultative role, as I stated before, as ACA made insurance more of a commodity. The plan is the plan. The rate is the rate. That's what people think. But through a consultative role approach, you can offer more than technology platform can offer. Your differentiator needs to be more greater than just saying you have good service. I mean, everyone says that, I have great service. Also, things that are going through on the competition side is consolidation of agencies. So more resources, larger agencies are moving down market. In the past, when I've met with brokers across the country, meeting them the first time, want to understand the differentiators that they see. Again, service was number one. But the prospects, you should give good service, but they're looking for something a little bit more. So our first poll question. Let me pull this up. So what is driving the HR Ben admin technology? Workforce changes, compliance, competition, all the above. Again, just to reiterate, need to answer all poll questions. Give it another 30 seconds. We got 96% voted. Another few more seconds. Okay. So what about the competitive landscape? Let's take a look at some of the things that are going on today. Certainly the big payroll companies, PEOs, are gaining more traction now than ever. As the business environment becomes more regulated and complicated, PEOs, big payrolls are coming into play. What should you be paying attention to that you may not have recognized as significant competition? Yet are the disruptors, these tech brokers, really. Many brokers are telling us they have never lost to a client to these type companies, and maybe that's true, but they feel maybe their service is too good, but their clients may want more of a high touch. So these disruptors can quite possibly become what the Netflix did to Blockbuster, or Blockbuster did to cable. One of the disruptors really take a look at now, Namely. They started in 2002. They now have over 650 clients with 120,000 employees. Their average group size is roughly 150, mid-market. Many brokers are interested in what type of company they are. So namely, they offer HR, payroll, benefits to single companies for all business solution. And they just added recently applicant tracker as well. So from an employee benefit perspective, they offer something unique to the market, namely Health Advantage, which groups together similar companies to offer their employee health benefits at preferred rates not available on the market. So namely is definitely something that's coming into play. PEOs are having some strong growth also. Remember that survey that 44% of people feel that they're not compliant with employment law. So PEOs come in and their message is productivity, increase profitability, allow employers to focus on their core mission. So it's something that really resonates with some of these businesses. Admin tasks are completed, so this one-stop shop sometimes really plays in well. So how are you going to compete with the PEOs or the brokers that are tech-laden? Let's review some of the ways that you can compete with these startups or PEO-type models. Employee benefit and HR technology trends. So employee benefit advisors recently did a survey among HR executives. So it's, what they were trying to look at is it all just price? So in 2016, 64% stated cost was a primary factor in choosing a Ben admin system. But in 2017, that fell to 24%, with 52% saying employee empowerment and 61% of admin ease was the main differentiator. So what that's telling us is the technology they have today may not be the technology they want tomorrow. So you constantly, as a broker, need to be evaluating where the trends are. Is it truly just price? Some of the brokers that I've met deal with 2 or 3 different HR Ben admin companies. One for just that entry level for their employees, more of a enrollment process, but then moving upstream to more complex type Ben admin systems to help with HR. So the Fortune, this survey that I just stated was more Fortune 1000 companies. Probably not your market, but everything that starts at the top generally filters down, similar to consumer-driven healthcare, which was more adapted on these larger companies, but moved its way downward after a few years. So employee benefit technology trends. So 50% of employers said expanding benefit technology top priority in 2017. So let's look at Zenefits as an example, where things were and where they're going now. So they were obviously a major disruptor, and their success clearly showed smaller employers are looking for solutions as well. So this plays in with that survey that 50% in 2017 are looking at expanding. Demise of the standalone benefit enrollment platforms. So they started out as an onboarding solution, but they moved into HR functionality. Brokers are providing the platform, limits the hassle for HR. HR is looking for help. That's the bottom line. They're looking for technology solutions. They're looking for compliance solution. As I stated before, some HR staffs are feeling that they are a group of one. So by having brokers help with delivering these platforms, it's something that they're looking for. So that's a solution, an issue that you have on the broker side. Do you build out the platforms yourself, which is obviously more money kicking into payroll? Do you outsource it, which probably costs a little bit more money, or something in between? Today, they think as a platform that connects all in one together. So brokers are the compliance resources trying to help clients out with a number of different trends that are going on today. Incorporating technology, HR, and payroll. So this is definitely the movement that we've been seeing for the last few years. You're looking for more than just a bed admin platform. You want to see that integrated in with payroll, which reduces redundancies and mistakes. Employee self-service. So that is, again, that survey that I started a little while ago. They want to empower the employees to be able to onboard. If you give a millennial a enrollment form, one HR executive said, you might as well just, they're gonna revolt. They want things done online. Data feeds to payroll, to the Ben admin, access pay stubs, things of that nature. So some of the benefits of integrating payroll with a Ben admin platform is no need for the double entry. So some systems automatically update all the impacted information when changes are made. So that's a good thing. Better and faster reporting. So organizational data on a daily basis. Just imagine that. So it can be tough to pull together now, but in the future, all this relevant data integrated into the system to help manage it. Can help with the payroll system. Think ACA reporting, integrating in with payroll. For some of those poor companies out there that are still doing ACA on a standalone basis and doesn't have it integrated in with payroll, many hours are being spent on it, where it can be much easier when that payroll information flows into the ACA for the filings. Environmental friendly solutions, right, can reduce paper load. Improves communication and teamwork. That's a growing trend right now, HR teamwork. And then helps with the employee empowerment. So HR and payroll working together is the next step down the road because payroll holds so much of the data, not all of it, obviously, and there needs to be some type of back and forth communication between the two. Technology trends, data for all sizes. So one of the things that we're looking for is good benefit programs require good data. Workforce demographics, benchmarking, enrollment participate allocation in with the norms. So future with use all data on the platform from all companies to create key indicators about clients and their workers. So that's going to be especially important going forward. They'll be able to analyze workers' performance or preferences. Think Amazon shopping experience and recommendation. So data for all sizes is something that's coming along. Poll question number 2. So remember, have to answer all poll questions. What are some of the technologies can assist with compliance? Poll is open. We got what are some areas technology can assist with compliance? So correct employee count, COBRA notice, ACA tracking and reporting, none of the above, all of the above. Give it another few seconds. Okay. I understand in marketing, HR, and benefit system without payroll is easier for most brokers. If you sell or give away HR and benefits without payroll, your client is still vulnerable for a takeover. Well, that's so true. Is it something I was asked a while ago, by a broker with all this different technology and compliance and ERISA, things of that, and COBRA. Jim, what's my job, right? I'm used to just trying to find the best benefit plan out there. Well, your job is what competition says it is. So getting involved with compliance, be it ERISA or COBRA, Ben admin systems, integrated with or without payroll, is something that you have to be more involved with now than ever. So some of these different things that you're getting involved with, one day or one time wasn't part of your description of what you were doing day to day, but now it is, just because of number of things, be it technology, be it different laws that are generated out there that you have to be, the main advisor to your client. So brokers incorporating technology. So brokers incorporating technology. Study shows that there's a significant increase in spending on employees, benefit technology, and integrating with payroll is becoming more important to clients. And these technology firms are partnering with payroll to answer these needs. EBN article stated your 2 biggest competitive threats are you continue to do what you have been doing. So, incorporating technology provides obviously greater efficiencies, data quality and security, mitigates compliant risk. So, some of these bullet points, what are your first thoughts on these? Like I said, the mitigating compliance risk. The letters on 226J, nature of the violation. So on ACA, there are some issues there. Engagement for your employees. So is there more engagement in terms of employees with the technology? Does that help sell voluntary benefits? Create more value. So employees with low employment right now, employers are struggling to find top quality employees. So what type of benefit, what type of value are you offering these employees to show that you're a company that you should be going to? Competition locks you in or locks you out. So some of these things that you're looking at right now for incorporating technology can help out with a number of these key bullet points. Data quality and security, that's obvious. So some of these things that you're able to do to help out is definitely something that your clients are looking for. So other considerations, no longer HR system for this and benefit system for that. It's the convergence of all. So employers expect a system to handle HR tasks, payroll tasks, ben admins. They love to have obviously free technology platform, but that doesn't necessarily mean it fits your client's needs. So how many times, years ago, a few years ago anyways, obviously brokers are looking for, you guys are looking for your clients are looking for the cheapest thing available. But after you get a taste of technology, that really wasn't going to be something that was going to work out to the best interest of the clients. Again, free models, they don't fit the client's needs. Don't use technology defensively. Must be proactive. So, you got to look at what's advising on the best fit for your client. Look at the different systems. Which one is more robust than the other? So you know the features and how that relates to your client. Maybe it is just a simple enrollment tool that you're looking for your client, or maybe it's a little bit more advanced on different models that are set up for your employees to better choose what benefit plan best fits their needs. The key is to talk about what technology can do for your clients. If you don't talk about it, someone else will. That's obviously so. Back in the day, consumer-driven healthcare, is always a situation where you can backdoor the client or backdoor the current broker and say, well, what do you mean you haven't talked to, or your broker hasn't talked to you about HSAs? So this is also something that is out there, something that definitely to be talking about, to have partners. I mean, that's one of the things that we really try to stress, or I try to stress, is who are your partners? You have possibly a CPA to help you out with certain things, or maybe you have an ERISA attorney that you can go to for certain compliance things, COBRA administration or Flex administration, your FSAs, HRAs. But now who's your Ben admin partner? Who are you looking at there to help with your compliance or your client's technology needs? Advising is not in your wheelhouse. Like I said, find the partner. Expand your capability of full service business offering. So through technology, you can offer a number of different plans, a number of different programs, be it voluntary benefits, which clients are looking for now more than ever. The key again is to talk to your clients about technology and what it can do for them. If you don't talk to them, someone else will. So it's a great story to tell. One point of entry for everything. Your ease, simplifying everything for your clients and their employees. May not be easy for you as a broker, but again, it's a necessity. And there are companies you can partner with that we'll talk a little bit more about to get this done, which we'll introduce one in a few minutes. But these are some of the considerations you got to go through. So what are your options when it comes to partnering with a client or partnering with someone? So there are basically three different options available when it comes to technology, starting with the least favorable option, doing nothing. Just remember, if you choose to do nothing, that's a choice itself. So doing nothing is obviously not an option going forward. So one of the options, of course, is the outsource. So outsourcing, as you see here, doesn't require a lot of financial resources, doesn't require additional personnel, which is a good thing, doesn't require a user license or to learn the system, but you're able to provide access to multiple technology platforms. So that's one of the options, is to outsource. Next option, you bring in an internal. So on the outsourcing side, like the slide says, doesn't require a number of different things. If you bring it in, the agency is obviously you're more involved in the group implementation. Creates sticky factor with the agency, retains control over the client, remain competitive to retain existing clients, and attract new clients. So when you bring it in house, you definitely the client definitely is relying on you, the broker, to manage the Ben admin system. So there is definitely a sticky factor involved with bringing things internal. But the downside obviously is there's more payroll on your side. You have to hire programmers possibly to do these build outs. You have to definitely manage every year like you would anyways, but you definitely have to manage every year on new plans being added, changing carriers, making sure the connection works well. So sticky factor, HR and the group is relying on things that you're able to provide, but there's definitely more resources that you have to put in to get this done. And of course, the do nothing. So slowly lose good customers, reduce ability to gain new clients, and someone else in your market will be offering you services like this. So these are really your three options. Which one works best, or it could be, all three could be used. I mean, some of your groups out there doing nothing is, definitely an option for your smaller groups. Maybe it's just something that doesn't pertain to them, or more internal for your larger groups, or outsourcing maybe for your larger group, depending on their real needs on systems. And final poll question, number 3. What are options an agency can take to offer technology? Well, if you're paying attention at all, you should be able to get this one. Outsource, handle internally, or do nothing. Question number 3. And we'll give it another few seconds. And we're up to 96%. Okay. Okay, that's it on the poll question number 3. And before we get go on any further, are there any questions we have out there?
There are actually, Jim. Do you want to handle that right now? There were
Um, yeah,
there
let's
were
go
a
over that right
couple. Yeah, there are a couple that are a little consistent, phrased a little differently, but really saying the same thing. So I'm getting the question, what are like the key components to look for in choosing a technology solution for clients?
Well, that's really going to be predicated on what the client's needs. From what I've seen out, other brokers, what they do, the first step really is the onboarding. Getting the clients onboarding technology to handle the simple tracks of your open enrollment. Makes it more efficient. Having that integrated in with um, Cobra, Flex, things of that nature, well, your FSA, HRA, and carrier is really a key component in the beginning to help make clients more efficient on the setup. As I was talking about earlier, there are still clients out there that forget to tell their broker or get information out to the carrier that they've terminated their employees or a employee, and it costs thousands of dollars, and this still goes on. So really, the first step is that um, integration with your other carriers that you have, but as you go upstream, it may be more HR laden. Really, it's depending on the clients to do a thorough survey on what their needs are.
We also just want to mention we have a checklist that's available, a client-facing checklist that you can use, sit down with your clients to help go through their needs. And we also have a checklist for maybe you internally to determine what you want to do in looking for a solution for your agency. So if you're interested in that, let us know at concierge@primepay.com and we'll get it to you. Another question that I see here is just a question on the cost. How much does it cost? And then a couple people asked, do you see more brokers paying for this solution, or is it more the client paying for it?
Well, that's again going to really depend on what kind of systems that you choose. Um, so what I've seen on some of them, like Employee Navigator, for instance, that's broker paid. Um, It's more of a self-service. So you're bringing in, like the slide showed a little while ago, more of an internal system where you as the broker are doing the build outs. So it's a little bit less on a cost price point than some of the other ones. So obviously those are the ones that brokers are paying for. But you have to have more payroll to um, handle the build outs. Others like bswift or PlanSource, that's more of a PEPM pricing, and we generally see that clients are paying for those themselves. But again, depending on the size of the group, a broker may help out with some of the cost. But also, I see some different voluntary benefit companies pay for some of those costs also, as long as you offer two or three different lines of coverage from these voluntary benefits. They may be paying a portion of the PEPM price that either bswift or PlanSource or some of these other ones offer. So it's going to be a variance of the two.
And another question, is there any conflict of interest or liability when a broker enters the technology area and starts to become more of an administrator of the plan? So maybe I'm kind of reading into that, what we say on our Cobra solution, having the client enter the information instead of the broker because of the liability.
Well, that's a great question. Man, that's hard to say. I really don't know that answer if that's going to be covered by your E&O. If you're taking on the responsibility of doing the ads, um, you may be liable on that. Not sure if that's covered under the E&O, but that's something that I'll have to research out. I don't know, Lisa, if you've heard anything one way
Yeah.
or another on that.
Well, I would just say exactly what you're saying. Check with your E&O, and I think that would determine your best approach. I can't speak to, your policies and how that's handled. So that is one question that we really can't answer, is how you approach your, your agency model and your insurance that covers you. But I think that is the last question, and I think that's a great segue into our next presentation, which is with Elsie Fairchild, and she is with BEST, or Benechoice Enrollment Solutions and Technology. And the company is focused really a commitment to help not only employees understand their benefits they are offered through their enrollment solutions, but also to help them identify which of those benefits might best suit their own unique needs. And their company works with brokers in helping them, they work with many technology solutions and helping them choose, demo, build out the systems. So we will turn it over, the presentation, to Elsie. And it looks like that's happening right now. And she'll run through that, and maybe at the end she can address that question as well.
Thank you, Lisa. Can you see my screen?
We
Yes.
can.
Okay, all right. Well, thank you. Benechoice Enrollment Solutions and Technology, Inc. appreciates being a premier affinity partner of PrimePay. We've worked together on quite a few solutions for a lot of different clients and brokers, and appreciate being invited to be a part of today's presentation. Part of what we bring to the table is we have not only I personally have over 30 years experience, but in 1998, I actually built my very first core benefit enrollment platform to help a client capture all the core benefit data for an enrollment. So we started doing this way before it was cool, right? So part of what we do is we interact with the broker and human resources. We do not do anything direct. We come straight to work with our broker partners, work with you and your human resource client to first determine what are the needs, where are we trying to get. Then we work with the various carriers and vendors. Every carrier and vendor is a little bit unique. So we are national. So we've worked with companies in California and all the way to New England and Florida. So we're pretty diverse on all of that. And probably the biggest thing we bring to the table besides those two things are enrollment solutions. And the enrollment solutions can actually be the differentiator in the result. If you don't get good employee engagement in whether you're doing self-service enrollment, face-to-face call center, whatever the case may be, if the employee is not engaged in the actual enrollment process, your results are going to reflect that. So why outsource benefit technology? A lot of different reasons that Jim went through in his presentation. Part of it, let's talk about resources. Most of you are probably being called on by multiple benefit admin providers all across the country. They vary everywhere. They vary in how robust they are, what kind of support they give. The one thing we found pretty consistent is when a broker signs on to one platform, many times they find it's not quite as easy as they were led to believe. Another thing is there's not a one-size-fits-all system. And what I mean by that is you've got different modules. So a lot of them, a big player, of course, would be an ADP. Will sell their system as a one resource for everyone. A lot of times HR has to actually build the system out. It's very convoluted. It's very ITE, which is not necessarily what they do. So we really like taking that modular effect. Today, with APIs between carriers and vendors being so plug and play possible, it's easiest to look and make sure what kind of onboarding does that client need. Today, some of the items you'll read is for HR to onboard one employee, and onboarding the I-9s, the W-4s, all the paperwork involved, an average cost of $100 for one employee, and that does not include onboarding them into their benefits. So many times this is a component you want to look at for your client, that a plug and play model tends to be a better way to look at that, so we can really look at your client and see what their needs are. You have some clients with a lot of turnover, you have some clients with very little turnover. Then you get into payroll. Again, PrimePay is integrated with a lot of different Ben admin systems out there, as are a lot of the other components. So again, it's nice to look at them as a segmented component. An example I would use is prevailing wage. So we have some clients that, depending on where that employee works that day, their wage may vary. Well, not all integrated one-size-fits-all systems can be fluid enough to work with that employer and on their needs. And then you get into the variety of carriers and third-party administrators. Some carriers are very specific in how they need the data returned. You don't want to find that out after you've built a system, done the enrollment. Now it's time to return the data to the carrier, only to find out the system cannot report the data in the way the carrier needs. And now you're back to, again, going on to their platform and one by one entering those employee data information. So it's very important that you look at that. And then you get into the expense. Some of you on the call today maybe have looked at buying into one of the platforms. We have many broker partners that we work with now that started that way. A good example would be one that I can think of. They paid $20,000 just to have access to one specific platform. Then it was $695 per client they put on the platform. They had to build the platform themselves, so they also then had to increase their staffing. And then they had monthly PEPMs, per employee per month fees, for every client they had on there. So it was becoming very cost prohibitive. And it's, for a lot of us, it's a reaction that you're trying to keep your competition out. So it's not a revenue generating solution. So now it's almost all pure overhead. So by outsourcing your benefit technology, you can still get the stickiness you're looking for. You get diversity in what kind of platforms you have available. You get the expertise of someone like Benechoice that works with multiple platforms and can help you identify what is the best solution for that client. And then you don't have minimums. Perhaps as you look at your block of clients, maybe you have 5, 10, 15 clients you know need a solution. It's pretty expensive to buy into a platform when you have limited needs. Or you look at your client base and you have a lot of different needs. Now you're looking at buying into multiple platforms, which in and of itself can be very expensive. So by partnering with Benechoice, we look as being a single source solution for everything from the benefits communication through the enrollment and the technology support. Rules matter. And that's one thing we see as we build out programs and systems for different brokers and their clients. When you have your health, your dental, your vision, your life insurance, all based upon manual contracts or standalone contracts, many times the classes don't match up. So you may have a class description in one plan, a different class description in another plan. All that needs looked at the onset of building a platform, so that it's all smoothly going through the system and giving you the end result you're looking for. Another good example we get into sometimes is we get to building the system and we find out, well, we have 3 employees that we grandfathered this way or that way. So because we've done this for so many years, we tend to know what to look for. So that's a very good advantage. Then we get into, let's streamline the flow and the interaction of the benefits. The rules on each benefit push the results at the end of the enrollment and what the benefit admin system has within it. So you want to look at your core benefit plan. How many medical options are there? What is it your client and you are trying to do? Are you trying to drive employees into the high deductible plan, or are you just trying to engage them in wellness? All those things can be built into many of these Ben admin systems with videos and decision maker tools that help educate the employee on what's going on, and what their choices may be. Then you get into the ancillary coverages, whether it's dental, vision, the life insurance, a buy-up option. You can connect some of these components that if they pick the qualified high deductible health plan, the HSA pops up. If they don't, then they don't even see HSA as an option. So there's a lot of background and behind the scenes work that goes into this to make that end user, that employee, feel comfortable going through the process. A lot of the decision maker tools can again be built upon depending on what those employees answer, how they answer questions, they move through that whole system. Then we get into voluntary. A lot of you offer voluntary benefits. There's a lot of carriers out there. There are a lot of different options and offsets that some of the carriers recommend. Another big thing to pay attention to is whether those carriers are integrated within a platform or if they're product hosted. So a lot of times we get into where a carrier or a client wants one plan or another, only to find out the time to build it on there is going to be cost prohibitive to do that. So we look at all those different things. On cost savings, a lot of times you're looking at that client, you're delivering some health insurance renewals that you're not necessarily happy to be delivering. They're telling you to go back, sharpen your pencil. So many times being able to work with you on some options and show you some financial solutions for those employees will really help deliver that benefit renewal and move the case forward. Then we get into the implementation of the plan. At BeneChoice, we assign a case manager to each account, so you work directly with the same person on your renewal or your, it's becoming very competitive out there that we're seeing a lot of our broker partners actually getting new clients because they're showing technology options that the incumbent is not showing. So back again to Jim's presentation is it's very important that you be engaged and not, you don't necessarily want to pick the platform for them, but holding their hand through that process can really help with that. We also really work with the whole enrollment process, the implementation, what's going on with the system, and the ongoing year-round support. And again, many of these carriers have some offsets built right into the platform. Maybe you have maybe your client already has a system. That's not a problem. We have worked with over 30 systems over the last 5 or 6 years that we've been really involved more heavily in technology. We have a variety of systems available. We are very careful to make sure they're all encrypted, they're all secure, they all have good reporting available. Some of the solutions we have that we can provide to you and your clients are showing on the screen now. The next step for you is we have a proposal tool on our website, and through that proposal tool, it helps us understand what we're going to look at, and then through that, we'll be able to give you some solutions back on that. So we actually analyze the demographics to help determine what is the best method of approach. The other thing that we do is reporting. Very important, we see this all the time, that we get to the end, someone gets to the end of their open enrollment, goes and looks at results and find out only 35 or 40% of their employees actually went through the process. Now HR is scrambling through that. So we like to give you more of a monitoring the enrollment process as to what's happening now during open enrollment, instead of saying, well, we're at open enrollment and you have 60% of the employees did nothing. Through that system, we also have the capability of sending employee communication reminders out, and we can actually target employees, departments, any number of criteria to really drive engagement from that employee and to get them through the enrollment process. On our website, you'll find and the last screen shows you that, there's a proposal request. We ask you in there, how many medical plans do they have? We basically, as you see on the screen, ask you for a big picture of what does your client's benefits look like. That will enable us to give you a pretty accurate proposal on some costs to implement the plan. We have a lot of different pricing modules. We do think it's important that choice is a part of your overall strategy. if you just think about today, what your benefits look like and your needs are today versus 10 years ago versus 10 years into the future, it's very important that we plan a phased-in approach and look at year 1, year 3, year 5, and what it is you're trying to get done with the whole system. So in short, with partnering with Benechoice, we have a lot of different benefit enhancements programs. We also have simply providing a benefit technology solution at a fee base for you to provide to your client. So a lot of different options available, from benefits administration to ACA compliance. Some clients need paid time off, onboarding tools, and obviously we have our payroll, COBRA, and FSA integration. If you go to our website at www.benechoice.com, contact us. There is a button on there on the Contact Us page for Request a Ben Admin Proposal. That's going to pop up some Q&A. You can be very high level with that. For instance, it says client name. It's more important that you identify in client name who you're going to know you're filling the information out about. You don't have to give us your client's name, but we'll take all that information. We'll put together a proposal, call you, and discuss each client specifically and what their needs may be. If you'd rather go send an email to info@benechoice.com, we also have that template in a fillable PDF format that we can email that to you as well. So thank you very much for attending today and to listening to our presentation, and we look forward to hearing from you. Thank you.
Thanks, Elsie. That was just bringing some practical information to what we were talking about, what to look for, how to handle it, and really just giving an alternative solution. I know many times when we talk to brokers, they are struggling with identifying the proper technology solution, afraid to make that first step, or investing the money that you talked about. So this is a great option for them. We did have one question. The question is, I need to pull it up here real quick. It says, you all keep mentioning ADP, who has tried to become a single database solution. What are your thoughts on Paycom, who is a single database solution that does not use API? I'll answer generally about that, and then Elsie, if you'd like to comment on any of that. So a single database, I think before APIs were really prevalent, a single database was important because the file feeds they're a little clunky. But with that API, that's real-time exchange between data. And as long as the background work that Elsie talked about, making sure that benefit plan names match and eligibility and all of the build-out is done properly, the API really handles at multiple databases, like a payroll database and an HR, seamlessly. So you don't really need that single source database anymore like you did before to make it as seamless. API is the future. So if Paycom, I can't speak to that, but if they don't have the APIs, I don't know if they're, if that's true or not, but are they really staying relevant to the future? We are spending a lot of time and resources to offer APIs for different benefit technology solutions with our payroll. So payroll is a key component to, as we talked about, compliance, administration. So to have that API is very, very important. So Elsie, I don't know if you want to add anything further to that.
Thank you, Lisa. The only thing I would add in conjunction to what you just said on the APIs and staying relevant, we've had multiple clients that went with a specific, I'm not going to say Paycor, but different payroll companies that partner with one platform, and that's the difference. With PrimePay, they're not partnering with just one platform, but multiple platforms. And then we see as they get through the enrollment setup, they find, well, we can't handle age-rated benefits, or we can't handle. There was a lot of things going on behind the scenes in some of those systems that it's only after you've committed resources financially and resources in preparation and resources in building out the platform, you get towards implementation and find out that they can't do some of the things that you didn't anticipate having to change. And I've seen that multiple times, which is why we're pretty big on the modular approach and the APIs, because then each system is building out what they're best at and staying relevant to what the needs are today.
Yeah, that best in class is important. We also have the brokers that have worked with us in this area comment that to have one company, PrimePay, offer, payroll, the flex administration, whether it's FSA, HRA, and HSAs, and the COBRA administration. So choosing one company for all of those solutions and then tying it into a Ben admin platform, they're not needing to work with multiple companies to drive a total solution. So that has been valuable to many. I have one other question. It's really a request. Will you send out this presentation? We will be sending out the presentations to the participants, both presentations, the CE and the Benechoice information. So just to wrap up, as a reminder, please send your sign-in, sign-out sheets. We say by tomorrow, so hopefully you can get it to us tomorrow because there will be a lot to process. We appreciate that. If you have any questions for Benechoice, their information is here, info@benechoice.com, or any questions for us at PrimePay, concierge@primepay.com. Just checking questions one more time. Looks like we addressed all of them. So again, thank you everyone for your time today and look forward to working with you. Take care.
Thank you.